guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today I have my December and January book haul for you, so stay tuned. So as you can see, I have two giant stacks of books here to haul for you today. This is actually my December and January haul. I got a lot and well, I'm just now getting around to filming this haul. So let's rearrange these piles a little bit. Oh, because this one I'm sure is about to fall over. Okay, so now I have it down into 3 more manageable piles here. So these first 2 piles of books are actually books that I don't know anything about at all. Like, I don't even know the titles of them, really. They're just a bunch of books that my mom gave me when I was down there visiting for Christmas. So she asked me if I wanted any of these books and I was just like, yes. And so she gave them all to me. And now we're going to find out together what they're about. Okay, so this first book here does not look like something I would actually be interested in, but it's Wind River Cowboy, a Wind River Valley novel by Lindsay McKenna. And it looks like it's going to be a cowboy romance, which Chelsea over at Chelsea Darling Reads would probably really like this, but I don't know that that's really my style. So it seems as though the female love interest in this was part of a special forces team that got caught in an ambush, leaving only 2 wounded survivors, herself and Weapons Sergeant Garrett Fleming. It says, losing her team was traumatic, and in the chaotic aftermath, as the army moved them from hospital to hospital, she lost Garrett too. But she never lost her secret yearning for him. Finally, she gave up trying to track him down back in the States. But as she settles in at the Bar C Cattle Ranch in Wyoming, a place where veterans can find a home and a place to heal, she's introduced to her sandy-haired, hazel-eyed housemate, none other than Garrett Fleming. They're a long way from Afghanistan and a long way from the people they used to be before tragedy changed their lives. But as Kira earns her keep by caregiving for the ranch owner's bedridden alcoholic father, a task that sometimes feels more challenging than any Black Ops mission, she finds that even in peacetime, Garrett still has her back, and that in this warm, welcoming place, the passion she resisted in the heat of the battle may finally have a chance to flourish. Yeah, this doesn't sound like something that I would personally enjoy reading, but I'll pass it on to somebody else. Okay, next up we have Dead Sleep by Greg Iles, and she actually gave me a few different Greg Iles books, and I'm actually really excited to have these because, well, my mom actually went to school with Greg, and I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so this one is about, there are these paintings, they're called sleeping women, but they don't appear to be sleeping as much as they really look dead. And a photojournalist named Jordan Glass finds them especially disturbing because one of the women has her face. Well, maybe not her face, could be her twin's face, who's been missing. And it says, at the urging of the FBI, she becomes the hunted and the hunter for this anonymous artist who's an obsessed killer who seems to know more about Jordan and her family than she's prepared to accept. So this one actually sounds really interesting, and I'm excited to have it. Okay, next up we have Spandu Phoenix by Greg Iles. Again, another one I don't know anything about, but I'm excited to have it because it's Greg Iles. This one says, The Spandu Diary, what was in it? Why did the secret intelligence agencies of every major power want it? Why was a brave and beautiful woman kidnapped and sexually tormented to get it? Why did a chain of deception and violent death lash out across the globe from survivors of the Nazi past to warriors in the new conflict now about to explode? Why did the world's entire history of World War II have to be rewritten as the future hung over a nightmare abyss? Masterful action and suspense, a sizzling hot read. All right. Okay, next up are some Danielle Steele books that they don't really say anything on the back about them, but I think they're just like adult romance. So we have The Wedding, No Greater Love, Full Circle, and Lightning. This Alex Parker had a family, a career, a life until she was struck by lightning. A novel of courage and triumph. Okay, next we have Back in the Saddle by Ruth Logan Herron. Looks like another cowboy romance. It's been a long time since Colt Stafford shrugged off his cowboy legacy for shiny Manhattan loafers and a promising career on Wall Street. But when stock market manipulations leave him financially strapped, the oldest son of legendary rancher Sam Stanford decides to return to the sprawling Double S Ranch in Grays Glen, Washington. He's broke but not broken, and it's time to get his legs back under him by climbing into the saddle again. He doesn't expect to come home to a stranger pointing a loaded gun at his chest. A tough yet beautiful woman, Sam is hired as the house manager. Colt senses there's more to Angelina Morales than meets the eye, and he's determined to find out what she's hiding and why. Colt's return brings new challenges. Younger brother Nick, who's long been Sam's right-hand man, isn't thrilled when Colt inserts himself into Double S affairs, and the ranch's continuous relationship with the townspeople forces all the Stanford men to reconsider what it truly means to be a neighbor. As Wall Street recovers, will Colt succumb to the call of the financial district or stay in the saddle for good? That's probably another one I'll pass on to somebody else. Next we have Forever a Hero, The Carsons of Mustang Creek by Linda LaFell Miller. Looks like another cowboy romance. For the youngest Carson brother, finding and fixing trouble seems to be all in a day's work. Mace Carson doesn't consider himself a hero. Back in college, he came upon a woman in trouble and intervened. But he was just one irate Wyoming cowboy with his boots planted firmly on the side of right. Now a successful vintner, Mace is shocked to be reunited with the woman he saved. But it turns out she's in Wyoming on business, a corporate executive representing the company that wants to buy his winery. Only he's not selling. Kelly Wright has never forgotten that horrible night 10 years ago when Mace came to her rescue, has never forgotten him. The surprising success of the winery in the middle of ranch country has brought her out to Mustang Creek, and she's secretly thrilled to discover Mace at the helm. Reluctant to mix business with pleasure, Kelly vows to keep things professional until her attacker is released from prison and comes for vengeance against both of them. Oh, and it looks like this is the beginning of a trilogy. Alright, next up we have Close to You by Christina Dodd. Or Dode. It says, her most sensual, suspense-charged novel. He watches you, he follows you, he longs to be close to you. Oh. So this says, who knows the truth about her family? Who wants to keep her past hidden forever? Caitlin Prescott was only a baby when her parents disappeared. Adopted by a wealthy Texas oil family, she became Kate Montgomery and grew up with no memory of her parents or her two older sisters and brother, who've been searching for her, hoping to right a terrible wrong that was committed 22 years ago in a small Texas town. Now an ambitious young news reporter, Kate realizes she is being stalked soon after landing her dream job at an Austin TV station. Why did a car try to run her down? Who would want to kill her? Turning her precarious situation into a story, she takes on a bodyguard and follows him on the job. But she didn't plan on the cool, blade-sharp strength of Tage Ramos or the attraction that sizzles between them. When Tage connects the death of an Austin socialite to unanswered question about Kate's childhood, she finds herself unlocking dangerous doors to her past. Now with only her mysterious bodyguard to protect her, Kate is on a high-stakes chase that may lead to her family she has never known, or into the trap of a ruthless killer. Okay, that one sounds cool. Okay, next up we have Finding Glory by Sarah Arden. And this is about a guy named Reed who left Glory, Kansas, I guess right out of high school. He had to get out of this place, and nobody ever bothered to inform him that he was going to be a dad. And now, years down the road, his daughter, Amanda Jane, is being cared for by her aunt. Reed is just now finding out, now that he has money, that he is a dad, and he comes back to try to help care for Amanda Jane. And, well, I think a romance forms between the aunt and him, and that's what I gathered from the back here. Don't know if this is something I'll actually read or not, but that's what that's about. Next we have Carolina Courage by Dana Fuller Ross. America's favorite saga continues in a violence-torn land as hearts and minds catch fire with justice and indomitable spirit. Oh, this is The Holtz, an American Dynasty, Volume 3. So I'm not even going to read the back of this. This will be something that I get rid of. Okay, then we have Unfaded Glory by Sarah Arden. Okay, this just sounds kind of ridiculous to me. I thought it was maybe like part of a sequel or a series or something with Defining Glory, but no. And let me just read what it says. In Glory, Kansas, a fairy tale wedding has local tongues wagging. But through this false engagement, can a wounded warrior and the woman he's protecting find true love? Byron Hawkins doesn't want to be responsible for anyone ever again. The former Black Ops soldier is better at taking lives than saving them. But on a mission to Tanzania to deliver a package to safety, Byron is dismayed to find that the precious cargo is actually a hostage rescue, and that his orders are to take Damara Petrikis back to U.S. soil and hide her in plain sight as his newlywed wife. Back in Byron's hometown of Glory, Kansas, petite, fierce Damara keeps surprising him. She may be royalty, but she's fully trained in martial arts and will sacrifice anything for her country. As the town rallies around the returning hero and his bride-to-be, he's finding that it's way too easy to play the part, and after the hell he has seen, that terrifies him. Byron didn't want another life to save, but the passionate beauty he's sworn to protect might just turn the tables and save him instead. That just seems like way too much shoved into one little book. Sorry. Oh gosh. I'm looking forward to getting to the stack of books that I actually ordered and stuff. I don't know, about half of these I'll keep. Okay, next we have North and South by John Jakes, part 1 of the epic North and South trilogy. An entertaining, authentic dramatization of American history. Nope. Oh, don't fall. Then we have Cry of the Wind, which is book 2 of the Storyteller trilogy by Sue Harrison. Nope. Oh, and we have another Danielle Steele. This one's The Cottage. Then we have an Iris Johansen book, and it's called And Then You Die, which I think I actually have. Yeah, I have at least one of her books on my shelf. Let's see what this says. A seasoned photojournalist, Bess Grady has honed her craft in the troubled spots of the world. But witnessing the horrors of Somalia and Sarajevo hasn't prepared her for what awaits in a small town paradise, as an easy assignment turns into a desperate journey into fear. Sunlight bathes the town square, a balmy breeze is blowing, yet nothing else is as it should be. The unimaginable has happened here, and Bess Grady and her sister Emily have unwittingly stumbled right into the middle of it. As chaos and confusion reign, Emily disappears. Bess is taken captive and escape seems impossible. But when rescue comes from a totally unexpected source, Bess is unprepared for the chilling truth. Tanaho was a testing ground, the first stage in a twisted gameplay designed to spread terror at the cost of countless innocent lives. It is the brainchild of ruthless conspirators whose next target may be the heartland of the United States. Now Bess must join forces with the intimidating stranger who led her out of Tanaho, a man whose motives are suspect, whose alliances are unclear, and whose methods have a way of leaving bodies in his wake. For she will do anything, risk everything, to find her sister, to keep her family safe, and to stop the conspirators from completing their carefully orchestrated plan of destruction. Next we have Riley in the Morning by Sandra Brown. It's a pretty cover, I think. Pretty lady, too. Okay, so this is a really long description, but I'll tell you just a tiny little bit. It says, Now Sandra Brown brings her mini readers a poignant, funny, and irresistibly sensual novel about one night in the life of a man and a woman that will change their future forever. And it also says, from dusk until dawn, the two relive their first explosive meeting, their sensuous courtship, their impetuous elopement, and their blissful marriage. It is an emotional and eventful roller coaster of a night filled with passion, seduction, and deep revelation. And only when the final secret is revealed will there be an answer to the question of whether or not there will be a future for Riley in the morning. And it's a short book. I imagine it's going to be like a steamy something. So I'll probably keep this one. Okay, next we have Knit the Season by Kate Jacobs. A Friday night... a Friday night knitting club novel. Hold on, let me fix this stack. Oh gosh. And I'm not going to read all of this, but I just will give this one little part. It says, from Thanksgiving through Hanukkah and Christmas to a spectacular New Year's wedding reception, Knit the Season is a tender story about the richness of family bonds, the magical power of memory, and the everlasting joys of friendship. Okay, now let's get to this stack, which is the stack I'm actually excited about. I mean, granted, I'm always excited to get books. I love books. But before doing this haul, I didn't know what any of these books were about. So half of them I'll probably keep. Okay, so these first two books I have here were sent to me by my friend Clint over at Reed's Readers, and he is an absolute doll, and I'm not sure exactly when this video is posting, but one of these books is part of a readathon that we are doing in March. So the book for that is actually How to Hang a Witch by Adriana Mather, and the other book that he sent me is Haunting the Deep by Adriana Mather. So I think this is her debut novel, and this follows the same character. So our main character is Samantha Mather, and she is a descendant of, I guess, Cotton Mather, the man in Salem, Massachusetts that was putting the accused witches on trial. And she has to deal with the descendants of the witches. And then this one is a Titanic retake. I think that there's some spell that keeps returning her to the ship of the Titanic, and she's having to witness it like go down over and over again or something, and she's, I don't know, living that or haunted by the ghosts of it. Okay, so she's dreaming about the Titanic, and so the ship is haunting her dreams and her waking life. And well, I love all things Titanic, so this was really cool to get this. Okay, so next up, at Christmas time, my friend Tabby Newcomb sent me a gift card for Books A Million, and I used the gift card to get 2 books, and then I also purchased 2 more books from Books A Million while I was at it. So the 2 that I got with her gift card was Rise of the Sea Witch by Stacey Rourke. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And this is all about, like, well, the Sea Queen, how she became, you know, the Sea Witch. What happened between her and King Poseidon to get her kind of banished. It says, evil isn't born, it's conjured in the depths. And I love me a retelling, so I'm excited for this book. And the other book that I got is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And I've been saying forever I wanted to get this, and I had the opportunity, so I did. And if you don't know what this is about, let me just read you the flap here. It says, when 19-year-old huntress Freya kills a wolf in the woods, a beast-like creature arrives to demand retribution. Dragged to a treacherous magical land she knows about only from legends, Freya discovers that her captor is not an animal, but Tamlin, one of the lethal immortal fairies who once ruled their world. As Freya dwells on his estate, her feelings for Tamlin transform from icy hostility to a fiery passion that burns through every lie and warning she's been told about the beautiful, dangerous world of the Fae. But an ancient, wicked shadow over the fairylands is growing, and Freya must find a way to stop it, or doom Tamlin and his world forever. And I hear so much about this series, and I just had to get it to... I've been working on collecting it, and I have other books in the series, and I didn't have the first one, so now I have the first one and I can read this. I'm excited. Okay, so the two that I picked out with my own money, I got If There Be Thorns by V.C. Andrews, and this is the second or third book in the Dollanger series. This completes my series. I have all of them, and I was just kind of waiting until I got this one before I ever read it. So now I have the whole series. And all I really know about this, I know there was like a movie made of the original Flowers in the Attic, I think is the first book. And well, it's about these kids that are pretty much forced to live in the attic and are hidden away and are, well, abused and all of that, and kind of kept a secret from the rest of the family, or the father or something like that, the grandfather, I don't know. And then the grandmother's like this horrible evil person to him, and yeah, it's supposed to be really, really good. Yeah, it's a Lifetime movie. And then the other thing I got was a graphic novel of heavy vinyl, Riot on the Radio. And this is about a group of girls that all work in a record store, but really they're like a secret vigilante team, and they go after trying to save one of their favorite music artists who disappears. Also, I had pre-ordered a finished copy of Slayer, so I got this when it came out. And well, this is, it's not a Buffy retelling, but it is of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer world. And our main character, her name's Nina, and Nina's father was Buffy's original Watcher, and he died protecting Buffy. And Nina spent her life, and her twin's life, they spent living in the Watcher Academy and, well, training to become Watchers. And she hated Buffy because she blamed Buffy for her father dying, and also for causing all the magic to go out of the world, and for everything bad in her life. And well, turns out something happened right as all of the magic was leaving the world, right as everything was ending and the Slayer line was cut and completely ended. The second right before that happened, Nina became a Slayer. She apparently was a potential, and something happened to cause her to become a Slayer the second before that all ended. And so she is the last remaining of the Slayer line, and she's not thrilled about being a Slayer because she does not look very highly on Slayers at all. And I loved this book, and I cannot wait for the next one. Okay, next up is A Boy Made of Blocks by Keith Stewart. And this came in my Once Upon a Book Club Bookish Advent Calendar. And it's about a family whose 8-year-old son was diagnosed with autism. And, well, the family ended up kind of falling apart. The mom and dad split up because the dad just couldn't connect and be there for his son, and there was constant bickering. And, well, it's all about this father-son relationship and how they found a common ground with Minecraft, the video game. And through this connection with Minecraft, just like a puzzle, they try to start piecing back together their lives and everybody reconnecting again. And it sounds like it's going to be such a beautiful story. Okay, next is A Certain Age by Beatrice Williams. And I think this is set in 1920s New York. This was another book that was in my Once Upon a Book Club Bookish Advent Calendar. And this says, as the hedonism of the jazz age transforms New York City, the iridescent Miss Teresa Marshall of Fifth Avenue in Southampton, Long Island, has done the unthinkable. She's fallen in love with her young paramour, Captain Octavian Raffarano, an aviator and hero of the Great War. Though the battle-scarred Octavian is devoted to his dazzling socialite of a certain age and wants to marry her, Teresa resists. The old world is crumbling, but divorce for a woman of Teresa's wealth and social standing remains a high-stakes affair. And there is no need. She shares a gentle understanding with Silvio, the well-bred philanderer to whom she's already married. That is, until Teresa's impecunious bachelor brother, Ox, decides to tie the knot with Miss Sophie Fortescue, the naive young daughter of a wealthy inventor. Teresa enlists Octavian to check into the background of the reclusive Fortescue family. When Octavian meets Sophie, he falls under the spell of the charming intrigue, even as he uncovers a devastating family secret. As a fateful triangle forms, loyalties divide and old crimes are dragged into daylight, drawing Octavian into transgression, and Teresa into the jaws of a bittersweet choice. Full of the glamour, wit, and delicious twists that are the hallmarks of Beatrice Williams' fiction, A Certain Age is a beguiling reinterpretation of Richard Strauss's comic opera Der Rosenklaver, set against the sweeping decadence of Gatsby's New York. Oh, and this has deckled edges too, which is very pretty. I don't know that I really like having them for reading, like actually turning the pages, but they do look really pretty. This next book also came from my Once Upon a Book Club Bookish Advent Calendar, and that is Setting Free the Kites by Alex George. And this is about two teenage boys, very opposite in personalities. Robert is cautious, reticent, and an observer. Nathan is curious, daring, and an eternal optimist. And they meet on the first day of school in Maine in 1976. And they both suffer from some kind of tragedy, and they quickly become friends and kind of help each other recover from this tragedy. And Nathan's adventurous spirit sends them on all kinds of fun adventures together. But when they both take summer jobs at a rundown amusement park, they make their first forays into a less innocent world. It says, amid the debilitated thrill rides and concession stands, they come to understand some unexpected truths about family, desire, and revenge, and most of all about themselves. And I thought it sounded really interesting. It says, funny, devastating, and so human and humane, this novel is filled with characters so alive and complex. Okay, this next little short book is one I actually won from a giveaway. It's called Queen Solomon by Tamara Faith Berger. And there's this little letter here from the publisher. It says, the erotic awakening and mental disintegration of an intense young man who leaves home and enters the phantasm of Israel. It's just another boring summer for our teenage narrator until Barbara arrives. An Ethiopian Jew, Barbara was brought to Israel at age 5, a part of Operation Solomon, and now our narrator's well-intentioned father has brought her as a teen to their home for the summer. But Barbara isn't the docile and grateful orphan they expect. And soon our narrator, terrified of her and drawn to her in equal measure, finds himself immersed in compulsive, psychosexual games with her as she binge drinks and lies to his family. Things go terribly wrong and Barbara flees. 7 years later, our narrator is getting his life back on track with a new girlfriend and a master's degree in Holocaust studies underway. Barbara shows up once again, her spiritual teacher in tow, and our narrator finds his politics and his sanity back in question. And I thought it sounded really interesting. Plus, it's really short. It's like 171 pages. And these pages, they're kind of textured and it feels really cool. And it looks really cool. Definitely not a floppy paperback though. It's a stiff paperback. Okay, these next books, I think they all came together in a special box put together for me. It was kind of a surprise from the creator of Totally Book Crate and My Guilty Pleasures Book Crate. She kind of did a special box just for me where she surprised me with multiple books, and I adore her. So we have The Boneless Mercies by April Genevieve Tuckholt. And this says, trained warriors kill loudly. We kill silently, and that is how you hunt a beast. Frey yearns for a life worthy of saga and song, but she is a boneless mercy, a member of an ancient female sect that has survived the rising and falling of kingdoms. Mercies are death traders, doomed to roam Vorsland, killing the old and the sick for meager pay. Their methods are quiet, even merciful, yet wherever their work leads them, their daggers inspire unease. Frey and her band of mercies, Ovi, Runa, and Juniper, are weary of the death trade and dream of a bigger life. So when Frey hears that a beast is slaughtering people in a northern jarldom, she decides that slaying the creature is the mercy's chance at fame and fortune, even if it means they must align with the reclusive sea witches and face the ruthless Cut Queen of the Red Willow Marsh. Their success, or failure, might change the fate of women everywhere. With prose as silken and slippery as blood, the complex truths of Tolkult's new novel will sink into your bones and linger long after the last page is turned. Next, that was also in that box is Shattered by Love by Danny Renee. And well, this just looks like a steamy romance. And it's short, but even though it's short, oh my gosh. Can you see how incredibly tiny the words are? Oh my gosh. Like, this is, I think, a normal page with what's on that. Look at this. It's just so tiny. But it's only 125 pages. Oh, and there is a playlist on Spotify. That's pretty cool. On the front, it says, "The boy from the wrong side of town, the girl who stole his heart." It doesn't say much more than that on the back. It's, Jace, "For 5 years I lived with my choice, pain, regret, heartache, a shattered soul. She was my salvation, my love, my world, until I let her walk away." Ivy, "For 5 years I've lived with my secret, hurt, remorse, sorrow, a shattered soul. He was my life, my love, my world, until he let me walk away. Broken hearts, shattered by love, secrets, deception, lies. Can love find its way through?" Sorry if there was an angle change, but my battery died. Okay, so the last book that came in that box was Shadow and Ice, Gods of War by Gina Showalter. And it's like holographic or whatever you want to call it. It's very pretty. This says, "Nox of Ivalin, the most ruthless warrior in all war history, has spent his life fighting others to the death, winning new realms for his king. Now the stakes are higher than ever. If he prevails in the battle for Earth, his slave bands will be removed. Victory is his sole focus, until he meets her." On an Arctic getaway with her foster sister, street-tough, vulnerable Vale London is shocked to stumble upon a cave filled with ancient gods waging epic combat. When she is inadvertently drawn into their war, she is forced to team up with an unlikely ally, the sexy god who makes her burn with desire. Though Vale is his enemy, Nox is consumed with lust and a fierce need to protect her, but only one combatant can triumph, and he will have to choose: live for freedom or die for love. And there's a blurb here from Christine Feehan, which I really enjoy Christine's books. It says, "A sexy paranormal romance at its hottest. The Gods of War series is my new obsession." So, for a paranormal romance, that's high praise, in my opinion. Okay, so the next book I got from Thrift Books, and that is Miss Mayhem by Rachel Hawkins, and this is the second book in the Rebel Belle series. And that is about this Southern belle who turns out to be like one of an ancient line of guardians. She's a paladin. She comes with all this super strength and lethal fighting instincts, but she's also like a Southern belle, cotillion dresses and all of that. And it's non-stop action and a touch of magic, and it just sounded super cute to me. And I really look forward to reading this series. It kind of gives me like a Southern Belle Buffy vibe, and I'm totally there for that. And then last but not least is another book that I pre-ordered, and I'm so excited for this one. That is Archenemies by Marissa Meyer. This is the second book in the Renegade series, and that's about pretty much superheroes versus supervillains, and who really has the right, who really is in the right, who's really a villain and who's really a hero, who's doing the right thing. It's a lot of political intrigue and there's a lot of gray area, and I just really enjoyed that first book. I'm actually looking forward to rereading the first book before I read this one, just so all of the information's fresh in my head. But I do recall that Nova, aka Nightmare, joins the Renegades, which are like the superheroes, but she's really undercover because she's actually an Arcanist, I think is what they're called. I can't remember, but the villains. And she finds that things aren't as clear-cut as she once thought they were, and I really enjoyed it. Here's a blurb about Renegades. It says, in a vividly dark and fully imagined universe where special abilities are feared unless they can be strictly controlled and labeled, Meyer celebrates and subverts popular superhero tropes while mining the gray area between malevolence and virtue. And yeah, it was really good. I liked it. I think I may actually try to find the audiobook of Renegades so that Marty can listen to that, and then see if I can find the audiobook for this one as well, so we can read them together. But that is my last book from this haul. That was a lot of books. I actually got a lot more books to haul because we're already, like, when I'm filming this, I'm almost to the end of February. So I have a lot of books that I've got to haul for February too. So have you guys read any of these books? If so, comment down below and let me know what you thought. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you.